How are you doing, everyone? It's Walid and Usama here. Welcome back to our channel, the Why I Did It podcast. And so we've got a lot to talk about today. So how are you doing, Usama? How's everything?
I've been really good. I'm no longer hiding anymore. Now I'm back. I'm
Well, I've been away on a holiday, so that's why we've got
how
this
was your
video upcoming
holiday?
now. Good. Just went to Bali, friend's wedding. So beautiful place, very nice. As you know, you've been there, but it's extremely hot. So hot.
Have you driven on those motorbikes in the middle of the streets?
Do you know what's funny is like my friend, the Gojek, right? The one that's similar to Uber and everything. My friend thought that he hired an Uber when he was going to the airport. And then once he got there, it's actually like a little tiny scooter. He had to walk all the way back. Yeah, but it was cheap.
Could
He should
he
have
get his
taken it.
bags on? Could his
No, he didn't end up doing
Oh,
it.
right. Yeah, I don't know. I was looked unsafe when I was like seeing it. People like holding on, and I don't know, like one bump and you're out in the streets.
You know, there's certain companies I don't even know about Uber. One of the family friends that came from Sri Lanka, I was like, oh yeah, we use Uber. He was like, what's that? I was like, Uber, transport. So he didn't know about it. So like, there's a lot of different other companies, obviously, in overseas and everything. But they probably use Didi maybe. That's why.
Speaking of one of your favorite companies, tell us about WeWork.
Yeah, WeWork. Yes, my contract just finished with them this month, actually. In all honesty, like we'll see. I feel like they're about to collapse. So like one of the changes that they did is they decided to cancel the 24-hour subscription. I think for you can't even access or enter the premises anymore after 12 a.m. There was never any aircon, and I don't think it's run well. So I would love to see what happens. It was a great idea, and like
concept.
I really enjoy. Like like you and I, we did a lot of work there and everything, but unfortunately, like I feel like they didn't run it well, and they're running onto the ground. So I would love to know what's happening. Let's check the stock actually.
Well, I watched this video the other day, and like in America, they're having this big issue where, like, obviously WeWork had a few problems. WeWork had a problem with their valuation was crazy. They've had a failed IPO, and then they had another IPO.
Yep.
They have like a whole TV show about it. But I think the biggest problem is they probably acted like a tech company, which they weren't. They were like a real estate company, and I think there's a company that I watched the other day. They're like a salad making company, and they're also trying to act like a software company, but they're not a software company. So they're trying to get this thing where like, oh yeah, we're this cool salad making company, but they're also losing money. The problem is like those brick and mortar businesses, they're brick and mortar businesses. Like they should not be acting like something they're not, because obviously then there's a lot of stress on them. Like they're meant to grow like a software business, which is what 30%, 50% growth every month. You can't do that when you're like a brick and mortar shop. Like imagine if your clinic grew like 30% every month. Like that's crazy.
And I think that's a pressure of like all businesses right now. They're trying to go digital, or they're trying to create some sort of software or app to catch up. And you're right, like some companies, the business idea just doesn't fit that model, but they try to do it and it doesn't work well. I'm just looking at their stock. So back in 2022, in October, it was $520 USD.
Yep.
Now it's down to 404.
Man, that's
like honestly, in 1 year's time.
in 6 months, not even a year.
No, in 12 months' time. So in 12 months' time, so literally September. Yeah, actually, it dropped down by 100%. So like September, 24th of September was $400
That's not 100%.
exactly.
That's like 10. Like they went down to 10% of their valuation. That's like way worse. That's like dropped 10 times.
100 times. No, it was 400 down to 4.
Is it 400?
Yeah,
was it 400?
It was 400. Yeah, 400
Holy,
USD.
I'm looking at year to date, which is 1 year.
Yeah, no. I'm looking at 5 years. So if you look at September.
That is absolutely
sorry, my apologies. Mad. Actually, no, from 2021. 2 years, from 2 years ago.
That is absolutely crazy. Imagine like
September
you buying
really
that. But you know what? At the moment, the entire stock market is crazy. Like, I've been looking at like a lot of the stocks that I bought. Like, I sold some of them, thankfully. Just like literally the day of the rise of like they announced the first interest rate. That's when I got out of the market.
Yeah.
But like I saw like one stock I bought like for one, I bought it at 0.2 and went up a lot. Eventually, it went up to like I think which I didn't sell them, but it went up to like 1.2. Now it's like down to 0.35. It's down to like at the very basic. So I think all of those companies are getting crunched with the interest rate. And whatever like COVID money, let's call it, is kind of now being depleted, which I mean reflects fine because you can see it like in everywhere, right? You can see it. The one thing we
100%.
haven't seen is layoffs. But speaking of layoffs, there's a lot of tech layoffs, but I haven't seen brick and mortar layoffs. I haven't seen normal company. Have you seen any? Like, have you heard from people?
Not really. If anything, I guess the only thing that I know that probably shut shop was Meyer. David Jones probably taken over. So there must have been a big layoff from that. But I think in Australia, we haven't seen it that much. So maybe in other countries and all, but Australia, I think we haven't really felt the impact as yet. But it could still be coming, you know? So like... I don't know. I feel like people are just still spending. Like, yeah, it's weird. Like, and like for example, I know like some people right now, they're just earning a normal standard wage, but you always see them posting stuff of and they're spending, and I'm like, how are you spending that? You know, like especially the other day we went and just fueled up and it was like $2.22, double.
I think about that a lot. Like I always think about like, you know, when you go to a shop, like. I don't know, I guess as a business owner, like I'm always thinking about like, how are they operating? Like when you have a small cafe with like 3 people working, in my head I'm like, that's 3 pay slips every month, fortnight. That's super, that's just, like how many coffees are this, in my head, like how many coffees do they need to sell just to make that pay slip, let alone, we haven't talked about the mortgage, you know, the actual lease, we haven't talked about electricity, we haven't talked about, and that's all in profit, that's not in revenue.
Yes, exactly. That's true. That's true. So I think basically the people who are going to feel the impact the most initially is going to be the employers and business owners, you know, because obviously with the interest rate being high, leases and loans on like everything from machines to tenancy. And then eventually the employees will start to feel it, you know. But so I think, we're not quite there yet, but we might feel it a bit more. But is there any tech companies that you know of that's been shutting down?
There is, but I was going to tell you about thing on the Meyer first. There's a company that bought Meyer in 2006. Guess for how much? Just put a number.
In 2006?
Yes.
Okay, I was here in Australia, so Meyer is huge. I don't know, like 200 million? I don't know.
No, more. Go up a little bit more.
More? Like, oh, okay, 2 billion?
$1.4 billion.
They bought one Meyer for 1.4 billion. Jeez.
They bought Meyer as a company for $1.4 billion. Now they're closing shops, so they're like in arrears.
Wow.
So think about that.
They just couldn't compete. Like, I don't even know what the story behind that is, because they couldn't compete with David Jones.
I don't know. Have you ever shopped at Meyer? I haven't. I go to David Jones, but I don't go to Meyer.
It's pretty much the same, to be honest with you. Like,
no, they're not. No. Meyer has Boar's brands. No, they're not the same. I promise you. Like David Jones has some brands that are like, oh, it's okay. Meyer's all crap. Yeah. It's all like just bad.
It's like sort of the cheaper version of David Jones, but more bougie than like Kmart and Big W.
Basically.
Speaking of David Jones, actually, I just remember something. One of my friends, his wife used to work for David Jones. And you know how we're talking about companies brick and mortar trying to become more digital? She was actually involved in the department that was trying to make an Amazon branch-like aspect of David Jones. And I'm sorry, not David Jones, Westfield. I take that back. Sorry, it was Westfield. Okay,
they're trying to make an Amazon shop like from Westfield.
Yeah, similar.
Okay.
So what they do is basically any actual shop in Westfield, they could sell through the Westfield website and it can be posted to the actual clients. So they were trying to pretty much compete with Amazon. That's what Westfield was trying to do.
That's a stupid
idea.
Work. I would have told them that from the very beginning, because like, what makes Amazon good is basically their ship warehouses where they actually ship things, and what they also do is they control their own deliveries.
Yes,
like that. I would have told them that they wouldn't have had to
So you had an option. Say, for example, you had a tenancy in Westfield, and you had the option to actually post through their website your products, and they try to mimic the same model as Amazon. And apparently it didn't work. It failed miserably.
There's a lot of companies that try to do that. They try to like become online. I think it seems to be the theme for this episode. There's like, I know like, for example, like Starbucks makes a killing out of their like gift.
They would.
Oh yeah. So that's basically, they act like a bank.
Interesting.
So what they do is it's more common in USA, not here in Australia, but what they do is basically, they have this whole reward system, which, by the way, if you remember, 7-Eleven did that at the beginning, which I'll come back to. But basically, this reward thing is basically you kind of pre-buy your coffees and you kind of keep them as gift cards, and then eventually use them. Well, that money that was kept as gift cards, they invested it, and they became almost like an investment bank. So they were using that money to invest while you're waiting for your fifth coffee to buy. So basically, made them a lot of money. So there's smart ways to do it. Like that's one smart way to do it. But the other way, which was 7-Eleven was trying to do, which is that lock-in fuel. Initially, you used to have to prepay for that fuel. But that problem.
Did you ever use it?
I have. Yeah, great.
Yeah,
great idea. But the problem with it is like you had to prepay for it. Now they still works to lock in, but back then you had to prepay for that lock in. Now it's just you lock in and it goes. Because I think there was a lot of problems with payments. Because you pay online, then that shop was probably like saying, "Hey, where's my money?" And that would have caused a lot of problems. So
yeah, obviously there'll be a lot of issues with that. So interesting.
Speaking of the Twitter payments, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's real, but like obviously when you're flicking through everything, Instagram, all social media, and Twitter itself, you start to hear these rumors that he's going to start charging even standard users. Man. So, but I doubt it. I don't think
Twitter would work. Like, I think if he does, it tells me that he's so detached from reality that he has no idea what people actually can afford. Like, people don't see that as a value, but people don't pay for that. People pay for, listening to like an inside information, which he has implemented quite well, I would say. Which is, you can subscribe to someone and make money from their like, insider circle tweets. But I don't think
that's been successful.
Yeah, it has been. A lot of people have been mentioning that they've done good money. Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a guy like that I follow. His name is Peter Levels. He's this founder of like the Nomad List, which I was going to talk about. But basically, he's got like a lot of subscriptions. So I'll find out exactly how many subscriptions he's got. Peter Levels. But he has this great business model where he is part of this open, like build in public, where he tells you roughly how much he makes from each project he makes. The problem with that is once he makes a lot of money, he stops showing that number. But like you can see on his Twitter that he basically uses like he has this photo AI and interior. Anyways, this has got a lot of websites, but he shows you how much he makes per month from them, and he's making like 50K. So he's making about 200K a month just from these like online websites. And the beauty about him is like he's a solo developer. He's not actually working with a big team. He's just him, and maybe he has some contractors. He's a nomad, so he builds this company called the Nomad List, where, bless you. So those people are like like say you work remotely. Now you're no longer tied to a specific country, so it means you can work from anywhere. So where do they go? They go to a place that's cheap. They go to Bali. They go to like Philippines, somewhere where they don't have to spend much money, but they can live like kings.
Yes.
And what they do is then basically have this entire freedom to kind of work on, the whole remote work on the beach kind of, I don't know, mentality.
Interesting. Now, fair enough. Just on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called now, do you know what his grand plan is? Like, have you looked into it? Apparently the whole X idea.
Well, he used to have X as a payment system. So that was his, before when he did PayPal.
Yep.
X was meant to be a payment system. I don't know what's a new. I'm assuming he's going to try to make it like the social media channel, like into YouTube.
More to it. So basically, he used to he bought the domain X ages ago, but then it was owned by PayPal, and then he had to buy it back. Mm-hmm. And his grand plan was to actually create something very similar to WeChat, which is a Chinese version, which is basically the biggest, I would say, platform for everything. From social media to buying to transfer to basically like everything that you can think of that happens on the internet in China happens on WeChat.
Buying fake clothes, buying fake designer bags.
Even like being penalized. Okay, so say for example, like it's well known that say you jaywalk and it's illegal, and if they can recognize you through facial recognition, they can immediately deduct from your WeChat account a certain money.
That's crazy.
So he's trying to, and this hasn't been done in the Western world, okay, where there is a single platform that has everything. So take, for example, right now, Facebook, and you've got Facebook Marketplace, you know, and then you've got Instagram, and some people right now could actually have their, obviously, sell merchandise and everything on Instagram. So he's trying to basically collate all that and put it together and create something very similar to WeChat. And so we'll see. Like, apparently from my research, what, you know, he slowly is trying to pull that together. He's already got experience with the payment system, you know, so now he's got his foot into which used to be the world's biggest probably platform of social media, and yeah, so and now that he's also got AI as well. So
do you think that's a good thing though? I don't think so.
Thing, no,
I think it's a terrible thing.
But I think he's like I think that's his grand plan.
Like,
you know
the entire
like
point of Web3 was like a decentralized platform. Like, nobody owns it. Like, that was the entire point of like the whole crypto movement. I'm talking not the
which failed.
Well, it did fail. Like, but like that was the actual dream. Like, if you ever talk to people, like when I was in crypto in 2016, like the whole goal of it was, you know, a decentralized platform. Like, oh, you know, you're no longer, you know, don't stick it to man. You know, no government involvement. That was the goal of it. Now it's like. Well, it's like and you see it in Australia, right? Like, Australia is full of big company monopolies, right? Like, how many shops do we have? We have like 3 main shops. How many, like, you know, big stores we have? We're literally talking about two, Meyer and David Jones. It's not like, it's full of big monopolies everywhere you look. You know, there's a few providers that do almost all things. Like, you got Telstra, you got Optus. Everything else is just small people that rent those lines.
Of course. Same as the energy as well.
I don't think that's a good direction, honestly. I think that's anti-capitalism from what I see it. Like, capitalism was meant to be like, this is literally anti-capitalism. This is the opposite of what we have worked towards.
I will share a link of a video that was done by a YouTuber, which was really good. And basically, he just goes thoroughly into his plans, and apparently he has been trying for a while. A few different companies in the past actually tried to do the same thing. I think even Facebook tried to do it, but in the Western world, they haven't been able to replicate what WeChat has been able to replicate. And WeChat, obviously, it's run by the government and controlled. So, like, if that does happen, then, and you never know, you know, Apple could one day do the same thing. We're already bought into their ecosystem, and it's so hard to get out of the ecosystem. So, which brings us to, what is it? The iPhone 15?
USBC. Titanium.
USBC, exactly.
Are you going to buy
the whole keynote? We'll go with you first. You tell me why you would buy it.
Well, I need to buy it because my phone is a bit older. Like, now the battery is getting worse, and I like new things, and I'm a sucker
13,
for
isn't it?
13, yeah. But it's got a crack on it as well. But no, it's actually, I think the screen is cracked. But no. On a serious note, the reason I would consider it is a few things. Number one, I'm developing an app, so for me, it's very important that I have something new to test it on. I know you can test it in development and you can kind of simulate it, but it's not the same. I give you a pure example, right? So I was making my app, which we'll talk about at some point, but I didn't realize where my back button is where this new dynamic island is. So I had to change things around because my phone doesn't have that, and if those are going to be the ways moving forward, you kind of suckered into actually having the new iPhone, regardless. That's my main problem, right? The second thing is, I like the look of the titanium. Great idea. I like that it's lighter. I wish it had better battery life, which it doesn't, where they should have. Because this is the first chip that they should have had 3mm nano chips.
I know.
That would usually come with better battery efficiency. Same size, lighter. Why do we not have an actual better battery? Terrible idea. USB-C, this is nothing I would upload them for. They were forced to do it. It was out of their hands, and they would have never done it if they didn't have to.
Of course. But here's the annoying thing. So obviously they're going to reduce the speeds if you were to buy non-Apple USB cables. So and the standard one that you get is not actually going to give you the full access of the amount of transfer speeds and everything.
I got all the time I need to charge. I'm not buying their stuff.
No, I know. I understand. Would I buy it? Look, to be honest with you, I don't need it at this stage. I am intrigued that you mentioned about your app. When people are developing, say, for example, right now, you're developing an app, do you have to do 2 different types for the existing phones and one for iPhone 14 and above, like
the documentation works is like, no, you're meant to do it for the most up-to-date ones first, and then the second ones follow. But the reality is most people don't have dynamic island. So I only found out about it from like a friend of mine who was testing, and I'm like, hold on, my back button is a bit too close, and where my I'm not gonna say what I'm doing with the app yet, but a title would be right where that dynamic island is. I'm like, you would think Apple would do something to show it or bring it down or have some AI, I don't know, like to reconfigure the sizing because it's right there. But it's like I don't know, that's bad user experience, and I think it was better honestly before when you had the bold sign looking notch. That was better than the dynamic island. Honestly, I don't think dynamic island is a good idea. It's right where you shouldn't be.
I get what you're saying, and I think they committed to it. So now the thing is, it's like we're hoping that one day that eventually there wouldn't be any punch hole for the camera or anything like that, But I think Apple has committed so much to it. They have done it. I know that. Yeah, but it's not as good. Obviously, it affects the front camera and everything, and affects the pixels as well of the screen. But the fact that Apple has committed to it now, it's going to be hard to eventually just get rid of dynamic island. I think it's going to be around for a while.
I don't agree with that. I think it's anti-innovation. But
but do you agree that they're not going to get rid of it? Yeah, they're not going to get rid of it. Yeah, they're not going to get rid of it anytime soon. So, but I agree with you. I think if anything, like they should have tried to do whatever they can and innovate. And there's nothing really that innovative about this new phone, is there?
No, I mean the one thing I did like was when you're shooting videos like ProRes RAW, you can actually connect an external SD card, and I think that was good because that's one thing I'm always worried about. I'm like, if I'm taking good videos, let's say for social media or whatnot, you want to take it at the maximum setting with the maximum amount of editing. Yes. If you can actually offset it to like an external drive, then you solve a big problem. I think that makes you not need to buy the 1 terabyte. It makes it 256 or 512 better. Would you always get this 512 above, or would you be happy? Well,
it's funny you mentioned that because I was just looking at my storage space. I've got I do have the 1 terabyte, but I've only used up like 200 gigs of it. But I've obviously got the iCloud, so and I was surprised. I was like, oh. So obviously everything is being uploaded. So yeah, if I was to buy the new iPhone, I would definitely not go 1 terabyte. I don't think it's necessary.
Well, I cheaped it out when I bought mine. I got the 256, and I have 44 gigabytes left. But I have a lot of apps, as you are well aware.
But do you have iCloud though? Is your iCloud storage large?
I've got the 2 terabyte lifetime subscription. Yes, I do.
Unless you're doing a lot of video recording, like
no apps. My apps take space.
This guy's got every single app that you can think of is on his phone.
Yes, I do. I test a lot of apps.
He's a server for all the apps.
I know a lot of solutions.
I'm the opposite.
I know a lot of solutions. I can tell you.
I've got such limited apps on my phone because I hate if I don't use an app, I delete it.
Well, Apple does that too. Anyways, you have this option where if you don't use it, it gets deleted, and I've been doing that. I think it's called offloading, whatever. But yeah, I know what you mean. I'd prefer not having as many apps, but I have to. I don't know. I like my apps.
So, what's your opinion on the new button instead of like the standard silent?
I do not care about it at all. I think they should have made it. It would have been smart to make it both a switchable button that you can also press down. No, not even. Same button. Just make it. You can switch it, and if you want, you can press it in. Like
I get what you're saying. Obviously, that from a design perspective, that might be a little bit harder. But do you know what? I'll give you a prime example, and I was watching this, okay? So when you hold your iPhone and the button is supposed to be there, okay? If you were to use it for a camera shot, your finger will immediately cover. So you got to be holding it like this, okay? So that's where the action button is going to be, where the silent is.
Is that a good thing?
That's a bad thing. So when people want to take a photo, the first thing they'll do is go like that, and the fingers are going to cover the camera. So you're going to need to move it and hold the phone like this to take a photo with it. Because most people are saying that, I'm going to use the action button so I can immediately take a photo.
Right.
So, but it'd be better if they put a button at the bottom here, so when you take a photo, you can go immediately like this. Do you know what I mean?
Right, that makes sense.
So I think the purpose of it is nothing innovative, and the position of it, I don't think it's good. And if anything, it's going to make things a bit slower. If you want to make things silent, you can immediately just click. Now you got to hold to confirm to make it silent.
Well, that's the thing. They should have at least make it like a 3-tap configuration or double-tap configuration. That would have made more sense. Where like if
we have that now already. The 3-tap setting?
You do?
So your power button, you can press it 3 times and make it a shortcut to
Doesn't
something.
it call the police or something? I'm not going to do it now.
No. So you can actually...
mine turns off, puts on my card, my payment card.
So payment card, 2 buttons, okay? 3 taps, you can activate it and you can give it like a shortcut.
Right.
So it's nothing new.
Yeah, I think they're desperate to make something different. I think maybe the chassis, like the titanium thing, that's a cool addition. Like, I don't know how it's going to play out, but I like the sharp edges. I actually genuinely like the sharp edges. I don't think they're adding sharp edges anymore, so I don't know.
They say apparently, reduces hand fatigue. But can I be honest with you? Nobody nowadays really just buys an iPhone and doesn't buy a case with it. So I really don't care whether it's...
Speaking of, what do you think about people that walk around with no case? I think they're psychos.
I agree with you. Because there's nothing dumber than paying $2,000 now, because that's how much it really costs in Australia. Literally as much as a computer. And you just want to take the risk and not have it protected. And I'll be honest with you, even just have one single drop on concrete, even the back of it, once you crack it, it's ridiculously hard to... it's expensive as hell to fix. Apparently the new one is cheaper to fix because they made it more accessible. Yeah. So they can replace the battery.
And you have to buy their own screwdriver to open it.
Exactly.
Now,
do you know about the watch though?
I haven't checked the watch, but I was going to say something I know a lot of people that just walk around with no case, and I'm like, why would you do... I knew a guy that literally was dropping it to show me, I don't care, throw it. I'm like, I care. My whole point of buying a phone is I want to keep it in pristine condition so I can sell it and buy the next one. That's my ultimate goal. Is if I can have 0 scratch on it, I've won.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. What's the name of that guy, the scientist, the African American guy? He's
Jackson
famous.
Gregory.
No.
Jackson.
He's a scientist. He's quite a famous YouTuber. So he's there we go. Found him. Give me a second. Neil deGrasse.
I hate that guy. I hate him with a passion.
He came
He's
on.
A wanker. And we don't want him. We don't want him on the podcast. He can.
I agree with you. So to answer your question, he came on. I think it was Joe Rogan podcast, and he was like, "I don't need to actually put a case on my phone because I can do this, and I know I've got control over it." And he was just trying to show off, and he was trying to say "Oh, okay, it's an extension of my hand. I know how I've got trust." I'm like, "Come on, you've got money."
Well, not even it's honestly it's just we all you and I can afford a phone. It's just it's just silly. It's silly. The back of the bottom of my laptop literally has a case in it because I don't want it to scratch around when I'm moving around.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just I don't want it to be scratched.
Things are not getting cheaper, 100%.
No, they're not.
I remember when there came a time when everything in the world was expensive, but technology was getting cheaper. But now it's going back up again. You know how the first time you had that really flat screen TV, which was still a cathode tube, was massive, but it was flat screen, and they were I think $10,000-$15,000, and now you can get a plasma screen TV for $2,000-$3,000, but the prices are slowly going up, and I think the cost of technology is rising again rather than becoming cheaper. So ever since COVID, it's just getting more and more expensive. On another note, actually, have you heard about the sexy knob?
Isn't it a button on the iPhone? Is that what we're calling it now?
No. So basically, I just came across it actually last night, and it's actually really, I say it's innovative, sexy. S3XY knob. Okay, it's quite innovative, but it's something. I'll explain to you. I know it sounds dirty and everything, but it's actually for Tesla. Okay, so it's a company that created a little tiny knob that you can use in Tesla to create shortcuts for the Tesla interface. So you know how in Tesla everything is on the actual screen. So say for example you want to open up a window, you got to press use the actual touch screen. Okay, you want to increase the volume, you want to turn on the
That's
AC.
Your dream, isn't it? That thing is your dream. This is what you dream of. That look, the feel. This is has you all over it.
What do you mean? No. But it's actually what is it? Are you on the right website?
Yeah, I am. There's a little thing because you told me about a similar thing with the Mercedes, wasn't it? A thing that you can turn around.
Yes. So what this guy has done, this is what I'm trying to say. So, and I think it's a smart idea from the person who created this company, but I think it's what Tesla lacks. Okay. So Tesla decided to put everything on their screen. And I think from a car enthusiast, that's the
Yes,
dumbest thing.
I agree.
You know, there are certain physical buttons that you just can't replace. For example, the what's it called? The volume button. Okay, the AC, the heated seats, whatever. You know, they made life so much harder when they decided to make everything on the screen, everything touchscreen now. You have to go to menu. So what this guy's created, he's literally created a knob that you can put in the central console of the Tesla, and then you can link it through Bluetooth, and then they wire it through the Tesla. So it looks exactly like part of the actual car itself in the center console, and it'll have shortcuts to whatever you want. So if you want to turn the AC, press that button. So he created physical buttons for the Tesla cars, and I think that's really smart from him.
That's
from
smart.
Tesla.
He's fixing a problem that they didn't need to even fix because
Exactly, a problem they created, which makes you wonder. So he initially started with, they now have a new, literally it will fix seamlessly into the Tesla car. I think it's mainly for the Tesla 3. And you can program each button so they can give you the shortcuts.
this guy's very smart. He even has like a
I think
phone
he's
mount.
really smart.
He has a phone mount that sits on the steering wheel, but it makes it look
Yes.
like it's part of it. Like this is actually a super smart, like slick design.
He's very
thing.
smart, man. So you put a phone mount, so it makes it look like you've got a digital dial.
I'll tell you on this note. So what I had, I bought this thing where I have a lot of shortcuts. Like, for example, my lights turn on when my alarm turns on and whatnot. And all those lights are actually like smart lights, so they can turn on and off. But what I liked with it is I didn't want to go to my phone and just try to get it to touch. And so I agree with you. I hate the touch part. I even hate texting. You know, I always call you. It's because I hate texting.
Don't you use voice command for your lights?
I never use whatever her name is.
Really?
No, I don't use her. I hate her.
I love it. Why?
No, I hate her. I'm not interested.
That's the only thing that Siri works well for.
No.
Control of your home system.
No, it doesn't work well with me. No.
Doesn't recognize your voice.
Google is good. Google's good, but I don't like Siri. But
I agree with you.
But what I was saying is, so no, I don't use that. I like physical buttons. I really love physical buttons. And for me, like texting on a BlackBerry, I can text you all day. But texting on iPhone, I genuinely hate it. There's a reason why I never text you. It's because I hate to text. I literally would rather call you than text because I hate the physical tapping on glass. I hate it. So
there are three different type of people. There's people that like to call. There's people that like to text, and people that like to send voice messages.
I call.
You know?
You know me. I always call. I hate
a lot
texting.
of Arabs do voice messages.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, WhatsApp voice messages. Sorry, keep going.
Have you seen that video?
Exactly. Have you seen the shawarma one when he's telling him I was fasting?
Yes.
And I said, "Bro, I sent it to my mom last night at 1 a.m. Either.
Yeah.
It's was it haram? Was I not supposed to do that? And then the imam is shocked. He's I don't know how to answer. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
I sent it to my mom last night, and she was like, "What the hell is this?"
Some bangers. But I would say is on that note of the button. I literally have a button that automates a shortcut because I hate literally touching it. So
I've seen those.
Yeah. So you remember I actually gave you one of those smart switches. I remember a while ago.
Yeah.
So you can buy an actual button that you can configure it with it that basically works. So you just press a button and it automates it. And that's to me, those buttons make a huge difference because.
And there's knobs as well like that now.
There is knobs, yes.
Yeah.
Because the one mistake I made when I bought a stovetop is because we don't have gas supply. We only have the electric ones.
Where do you live in Melbourne?
Yes. No, actually, Melbourne has really good gas supply.
No, do you know why I said that?
Why?
Not prime minister. Sorry. What's his name? Daniel.
Yes.
He's cutting out gases from all new houses.
He's an idiot. He's an idiot.
No, literally. He's actually cutting out any more gases, so you can't get a gas if you build a new house in Melbourne.
He's a bloody idiot.
The greatest city in the world. Not. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but I was saying so our area doesn't have gas, so we'll have to either buy. There wasn't conduction ovens weren't a big thing when I bought it. It was a while ago. So we bought this normal glass based of an oven. Problem with it is the buttons are touch.
I hate
here's the thing: when you're heating up something, sometimes it splashes. So the splashes, if they come to the buttons, it turns off or it doesn't touch. So sometimes literally you'd have to press to turn off the entire oven from the switch.
I agree with you. I reckon it's the dumbest invention.
It's stupid. I'm you're not. First of all, you're not helping anyone because people prefer buttons. Nobody likes touch. Well, I don't like touch.
I agree with you. No, I agree with you. There's certain things that touch work well for, and then there's other things that is just terrible. So like 100% when it comes to the car, it's actually more dangerous.
Yes.
You know, when you have to turn your head to make sure that you're getting, and now like here's the funny thing about like these people, like it amazes me, especially in the car industry, how one company does it and then everybody just follows suit, and no one thinks like, hey, do we actually think it's a good idea? Like I remember when Tesla was the first one to do it. The next thing you know, Range Rover starts following them.
Stupid.
Audi, BMW. Actually, I give BMW credit. They always kept their center control and their AC physical buttons.
Yeah, but they want to charge you a subscription for it.
There you go. What's funny is that like they really are creating problems and then creating fixes for it.
Which
like
sounds
this
like
company,
who?
the one I told you about, the
Sounds
60
like
knob,
Apple.
like 100%. Yeah, Steve Jobs will be rolling in his grave right now. Did you see the cringe part of the whole Mama Gaia?
Who?
Did you not see about the really really cringe part in their what's it called, the iPhone release, the keynote? Mama Gaia came and then she was like trying to drill them. Mama Gaia is the Mother Nature, you know. And they had this lady. It's a terrible skit. So they played this part where they basically Tim Cook is having a meeting with everyone. They're scared and they're preparing for the meeting to tell Mother Nature how much they're doing and becoming carbon neutral. And she drills them, and then they answer it like, "Oh yeah, we've been doing all this." And she's like, "Okay, good. You keep going."
Is it a human or like a robot or like?
It's an African American lady, and like this large lady.
Her name is Mama Gaia.
So. Do you know what Mama Gaia is? Mama Gaia is supposed to be like it's the spiritual version of Mother Earth. That's what it means. Okay.
I thought Egypt was Mother Earth.
I like no. Type in. Okay.
You didn't get the reference, did you?
Egypt.
Yeah, they call it like Omidunya.
Omidunya. Yeah. Just say Mama Gaia Apple, and you'll see it's a video. But they're getting hammered.
I can't see anything.
What is it? Let's see. Mama Gaia, not Mama. Oh, just say Gaia. Okay. Mother Earth Apple.
Google's a strange Mother Earth.
Mother Nature, yeah. Mother Nature Apple.
Okay, so this is like a African American lady. Is that her?
So she's supposed to represent Mother Nature, who decided to come to the meeting.
Look like it.
So
sorry, whoever that is, it's a joke.
It really is like a terrible skit. So what they're trying to say is that she's coming into the meeting and they have to prove to her that they're becoming carbon neutral because Tim Cook promised that by 2030 every Apple product will be carbon neutral. And the first Apple product to be carbon neutral now is I think the Apple Watch. So she starts drilling them with the questions and apparently they're already ahead of schedule. It's a really, really cringe video, you know?
Where have I seen her before? She's an actress?
I'm sure she is. So, like, just look at the video when you get a chance after this. But
why did they choose?
They were just flexing. That's what they were doing. They were just like pretty much flexing on every other tech company. Like, look what we're doing. We're planting forests and everything like that. Blah blah. Okay, we get it.
There's one thing that I upload Apple for, which is the privacy part. That's the only thing I do upload them, and I'm hoping that that's actually real. Like my hope, and this is like trusting somebody you don't normally trust, is that privacy concerns is real, but. Who knows?
Do you know what's funny? Like, you know how you mentioned that? Even VPN, I question. Okay? Because there's so many there's so many VPN companies nowadays. How do you trust if they really are doing what they're doing? Like, how can you really, really say, oh, it's definitely giving me a private network and it's, hiding my IP address?
Look, there's one company that I do trust because they're known for it. It's called Proton. So Proton is based in Switzerland, and Switzerland has a good history of being quite privacy centric, and they don't really have any agreements with other countries as much as other. And they have this thing where it's called Proton Mail, and I think it's probably the most secure mail you can get. Like genuinely speaking, I remember
how do you know? What are you basing it on?
I have a patient who is like a cybersecurity expert that works with the government. He doesn't work and he once when he put his email, I'm like, it said at Proton Mail. I'm like, what's Proton Mail? he's like, oh, we're not allowed to have like common emails. So this is one email that we're actually allowed to use because they're actually quite secure. They're not accessible. And if somebody tries to open it a few times, it literally would self-destruct. Like, that's how secure it is.
Wait, so what happens to your messages? Say, for example,
They back them up in some server, and I think like you can only access it. Anyways, what I was saying is they launched a suite where they were actually creating like a VPN, and I think that would work. But here's the problem. Those companies, when it's a less popular one like that, it would be slow. So you try to go Netflix is very slow then. Right?
Oh, yeah, fair enough. Exactly.
And then you go to the other ones. The other ones are probably quick, but you really trust the company. But VPN is a great business model. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, VPN?
Great business model.
Of course it's a great business model because it makes you feel like, oh, you're only paying a small amount. But a little here, a little there from everybody. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I question now all these companies. There's so many, like, for example, Mr. Who's the Boss. So, like, shout out to him. I respect the guy so much, and I think he's got an amazing YouTube channel, and love to one day have him on our podcast. He basically recommends a particular VPN, and then you've got somebody else like, say, Matt Walsh. He's also recommends a particular VPN. So you just sit there and you're like, okay, so there's all these VPNs, and everyone's recommending a different one. I don't know whether MKBHD recommends another one. But Ali Abdul, I'm sure he does also as well. Which one do you go with? Who do you trust? And I think they're just popping up like crazy.
I'll tell you. The ones you trust are the ones that are doing good. They don't have to market as much. Example is Proton Mail.
I get you, but there's a downside of it.
I was going to talk about like a great business model. So there's these small companies that do like this compare VPN, right? Like their websites where like they're trying to compare. But what they do is every single link is actually an affiliate link.
Yes.
And they get millions of traffic. And the idea of these affiliate links with VPN is recurring subscription. So it's not just a one-off like, oh, you just send somebody. You get a commission from every payment they make. And most people on VPN, they never stop. So those companies are killing it. They'll be making millions.
I agree, 100%. So like I know it's a great business model. But tell me, are you using it because you're actually worried about privacy? Or are you using it so that you can get access to like, say different Netflix from different zones?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who cares? By the way, actually speaking of Netflix, do you know how dodgy it is? So you know how now they started the whole subscription, making sure that only one household gets Netflix.
Yes.
So I reduced my tier to the cheapest one, so that it's only one household. You can share it between different devices on the same Wi-Fi, okay? And just the other day, and it's happened twice now, just the other day, all of a sudden it's saying that, oh, your Netflix is being used by another account. Upgrade so that you could use it on different areas, okay? And I checked, nothing is using it, none of the devices, okay? So I had to literally go and just exit, that's what on my TV, delete the app, reinstall it, and do it again. And then 3 weeks later, same thing happened, okay? And I made sure this time I actually changed my Wi-Fi password and everything. I think they're doing it on purpose because they're going to catch out some people who are going to be like,
enough. They're like, oh, I need to upgrade.
Stupid enough to upgrade and pay extra. Believe me, I actually think they're doing it in that way. Because there are some people who be like frustrated, oh, wait, what's going on? And then you get confused and you think that maybe, am I still sharing it with someone? So what's funny is that they don't want you to share, but there's a tier now to tell you, oh, no, you can share if you want to. Yeah,
honestly, the problem is when they would not, like those companies think so short term because like they had a good business going. I don't understand why they need to ruin it. Like, yes, people were sharing passwords, but you're making a killing. People like when you subscribe to Netflix, like, have you thought about removing it? I haven't. Like, most people don't. It's like
the only thing that made me want to remove it is the fact that they removed that.
Of course, honestly. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Most people were quite happy to keep this ongoing lifetime subscription to entertainment, and nobody was complaining about it, even after the small increases they made in prices. But eventually,
they weren't making good content. That's why I think they were losing to competitors such as Disney.
And what's your solution then? You make it better content. You don't try to charge people more when your content is bad.
Yeah, explain that to them. And that's what's wrong with Hollywood and these idiots. They keep bringing out garbage shows and movies.
Yeah, because they get rid of the good stuff. They get rid of the stuff that are like actually funny or because everything's
I don't think they have any more talent, to be honest with you.
Everything stuff
is like garbage. I think the only thing that's succeeding well and that's hasn't been affected by that side is gaming. you know. So like the other day I was watching the new Mortal Kombat release video.
I never
And
thought I'd hear
honestly,
the words.
it looks insane, and just the storyline behind it, because it's the people, the game developers, are the ones that are creating the cinematography, and bro, it looks amazing. It looks like a real movie, and I'm
Is it
like,
called Mortal Kombat?
the Mortal Kombat release video. It just like, I don't know if did you ever grow up with Mortal Kombat?
No, but I've
No?
played the
Okay.
game. I played the game.
So I did it. It's a decent game, you know what I mean? It's hands down one of the most memorable games and most iconic games of all time. And so the new Mortal Kombat release
it's like
just
Tekken,
looks
right?
insane.
Like the same idea as like
Yeah, but it's from Sega.
Yeah.
And anyway, so finish him, Sub-Zero. But the game developers, the quality of cinematography is getting insane, okay? And they have a more imaginative, and I truly believe they should be the people that are doing, especially when it comes to like fiction movies, especially ones like these. I think the game developers should be the one actually creating these movies, because they just have a much better, like when you look at it, you're like, okay, this is like literally a movie. It's become amazing, especially the cinematography part. And
I think we will have. I think we will have like an AI generated movie soon. I do believe that, but the problem with the games
we'll see how
though,
that goes.
the problem with the games, like, and what I've noticed recently is like the old games are the ones that are still better, and that's not being romantic to the games. They just were played for longer. Like, I downloaded this Cyberpunk after like, well, you know, I bought it off the release as an idiot, which I probably should have never bought. But I was just gonna test my game, right? I'm like, I built this new computer. You know,
They had
it's
glitches Cyberpunk, didn't they?
I didn't run into glitches personally, but yes, they had glitches with like some issues. But the problem is like this game has been as longly anticipated. They launched it and then released it, and the game is so short. You finish it, and then you're like, hold on,
Now
what?
what?
Now? Now you have to play another character. Say there's only 2-3 characters, and you're just playing a different story. Like, think about like the games like that we played a lot. We played GTA. I played GTA.
I'm still playing that.
Yeah.
I literally bought a Nintendo Switch just for that.
That game goes on forever. Like, it's like that's a good game. Like, you're thinking about a game that's first of all ahead of its time. Like San Andreas, like
San Andreas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do you know why?
We call it San Andreas and then but like,
do you know? Yeah.
but like, you know, that game was played forever. Like, it's a good game.
Exactly.
It's a huge game. And even if you're not fixing mission, it's still fun.
100%. So do you know why Nintendo's the most successful console? Is because they.
Is it the most successful console? I thought PlayStation was.
No, PlayStation beat it for a while, but the Nintendo Switch has succeeded.
Are you sure about this?
So now PS5 is getting there. Yeah. Like in regards to sales, especially
PS5,
like
PS5 is number one now.
It is now. Yeah, so for a while, but I still think now Switch 2 is going to come out soon, which would be interesting. But do you know the technology?
Is that what you have, Switch?
I've got the Switch, yeah. So the Nintendo technology is very outdated, but the Nintendo CEO, his main actual vision was we want to create better content, better games on simpler machines. And to be honest with you, they simplified gaming, and that's what made it easier. You know, like right now, I've got a PlayStation 4, and I don't use it because the time it takes to load it up, to put a game in,
you need to
by
be
then I'm already bored, honestly. Whereas Nintendo Switch, turn it on, and it's just portable. And if you want to actually play it on the TV, you can put it on, and it's so much easier. And I think that's where they won. So,
right.
But the PS5 is looking pretty mean.
Well, if you have Switch, I played Apex for a while. If you want to play it together, we can.
Oh, you've got a Switch? Oh,
no, I don't have Switch, but it's cross platforms. If I'm on my computer, you can play it on your thing, and that would work fine.
I've never played it. I'm literally just playing GTA. Can I tell you, man, I'm just nostalgic at the moment, and I'm just like buying all the old games that I used to play, you know, like Crash Bandicoot and...
Sounds like you have a lot of time on your hand, Walid.
No. What I do is honestly, like I've been playing it because I was, I'm overseas on the plane. I just pulled it out and...
I'm joking.
That's the only way I can switch off with a Switch. That should be their tagline.
Switch over the Switch. Well,
so,
I haven't played it, but I know what you mean, because like my ultimate goal has always been to play on my iPad with like the controller. Because to me, I'm like, I don't want to like carry a whole big computer. Like I'm literally about to sell my computer that I built. Like I'm thinking about putting on the market because I'm not using it. Like
slightly used.
It's greatly used. It's actually like a beautiful ITX with like, it's like a 12
Are you
liter.
selling
Like
that? I thought you were talking about the Mac.
No, I also need to sell the Mac. I think I'll sell both and upgrade to like another new MacBook. That's probably the game because I honestly use I use my MacBook all the time. Like that's what I use.
Yeah. They don't have. When are they going to release the Macintosh Pro?
I don't know, but I'm not buying it. I don't need it.
Do you know that one? Remember that?
Well, they've released a Mac Studio, and I think that's going to be their new thing. Like, because the Mac Studio is performing 10 times better than the cheese grater.
I know, but do you know which one I'm talking about? The Macintosh is the Macintosh Pro. You know it was like a
You mean the iMac Pro?
iMac Pro. Sorry, iMac Pro. Macintosh Pro.
I don't know, but I wouldn't even buy that because I don't like things that I have to be like. No, they still sell it, but sorry, I wouldn't buy it because I need something portable. Like I use my MacBook every single day. I would not use.
I'm just surprised they haven't released it yet because you know how they got the new line of iMac with the colors and everything. They haven't got the
expensive. Nobody's gonna buy it.
Oh, boy, I've had a lot of people, like a lot of architects and a lot of designers, graphic designers use the iMac Pro, you know?
Well, I think they're switching to the Mac, to the other one, the Mac Studio 100%. With the... Yeah, I think that's probably going to be their new thing is...
So they can have better screens and everything, exactly.
So there you go.
I would get a Mac Studio.
Oh, wait, no, they don't. They sell Mac Pro. They sell iMac, but not iMac Pro. They don't sell it
doesn't
anymore.
Exist anymore. I think it's discontinued.
Why would they sell it when they can sell you a Mac Studio and a Pro display?
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be honest with you, I'd rather get a Mac Studio and just buy, like some Dell screens and stuff, which I already got.
Well, I have those as well. They're great monitors. Honestly, you can't go wrong.
Exactly.
Do you have the one that I told you to buy, or?
No, I don't know which ones I have.
No, you have the 4K ones, not the gamer ones.
4K ones, yeah. Now to wrap it up.
Yes.
When was the last time you used ChatGPT?
This morning.
We spoke about once. Oh, did you actually?
Yeah. I was using it.
You still use it?
Yeah, no. So I was using it to write me a Python script for organizing file names. So, I'll give you an example use case. So, like, if you have like images from like a camera, sometimes they come up all weird.
Yep.
If you use a Python script, you can actually make it like less weird. So you can make it 2023, for example, date.
Oh, yeah.
And then time.
Line, yeah.
Instead of having a full name. But it also works the same for folders, I realized. So even if you have folders, instead of you having to rename every one of them, which I was because I was working with a database, like in Postgres, you can just use Python to write it. Now, I can do it, but if I can get ChatGPT to write it for me in 5 seconds, why would I actually bother? So
yeah, go on you.
I do use it, but I haven't used it for anything aside from coding.
I'm just waiting for them to freaking introduce an upload button. So you could upload, say, for example, an article and say, summarize this for me.
Well, have you used Bing at all, the app?
Which one?
Bing.
Oh, Bing, you mean the website thingy?
Yeah, so the Bing has this thing. I'll show you. So, let's show it to everyone.
Yep.
There's a little button that sits at the bottom, and if you press it, it gives you...
An upload button?
No, it gives you like a chat, but it has a little button that you can actually tell you to use GPT-4. And you can use it for free. And I've been using it for free. I
get you, but I'm just wondering...
It literally says right next to it.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, well, Bing is... I think because they're trying to get everyone to jump on Bing.
I know, but it's like, why would you pay for ChatGPT when you can just use Bing for free?
To be honest with you, I don't think anybody should be paying for ChatGPT. The standard ChatGPT is good enough. And, but do you understand what I mean?
If you want to use
they need
internet.
to put an upload button.
For what?
Like, for example, like yesterday I had a journal meeting and for this medical thing that we're doing. And I didn't get time to read the article. And I needed to get a quick summary. And I was like, I wish I could just upload the PDF file on ChatGPT and say, summarize this for me.
Well, you could, but you'd have to pay for the GPT subscription so you can have access to the extensions that will give you.
Which is annoying.
But that's how you would do it. Otherwise, there's apps like Chatbase and other ones that would do it for you.
Yeah.
But yes, I know what you mean. It's not like straightforward.
If they can have an artificial intelligence to do all that, I'm sure they can add a button to upload. You know what I mean?
Well, honestly, I feel like, okay, I'll tell you where Apple is lacking. Apple used to do this stuff. They used to be good at AI. They haven't released one AI thing. What are they going to release?
It's not called AI. It's called machine learning with Apple.
They can machine my whatever. But yes, you know what I mean? Like they used to like... like if you take the Pixel compared to the iPhone, it's like poof,
Yeah.
like Pixel can literally have a transcribe. You're talking to it, and like it's literally giving you the information as you speak.
That's the one thing. See, the thing is even though I'm on the Apple ecosystem, I use the Google software. Like most of my stuff are either Google Drive or Chrome. I don't like Safari.
It's all fun and games until it ends up in the Google graveyard. There's an app for this. It's called the GC Symmetry. Go into
I know, you're right.
GCSymmetry.co. Google Cloud. Honestly, they have there's a few apps for it. There's one called killedbygoogle.com, and you can see like Google Domains, Google Optimize,
The Google Symmetry,
Album,
that's hilarious.
YouTube Stories,
Google Hangouts,
Grasshopper, Jacquard, YouTube Go, Google Surveys, Google My Business.
It's intriguing, like Google Plus, goo.gl.
Are you on Killed by Google or the G
No,
Symmetry?
Google Symmetry.
No, go Killed by Google. It's a bit nicer because you can see how long they've lived.
Oh, that's hilarious. Killed by Google, expiring in 90 days. Google domains. So do we have to do something about that? I need to look into that.
Yes.
All right, should we wrap it up now?
Yes, we should. By the way, just one thing. If it ends up expiring, make sure you reroute your DNS for emails and whatnot, because that will go away.
Oh yeah, true. We'll look into that then. Okay,
All right.
sweet.
All right, that was all. Hope you guys have a great episode, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Catch you next time, guys. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.